What you guys, got another video here for you on how to turn your mini PC into a Minecraft server to share with you and your friends. So we have a Minisforum UM760 slim version here. That's the one we're going to be using. It's got the Ryzen 5 7640HS and it's 16 gigabytes of RAM and 1 terabytes of SSD storage. And that's the one I'm going to be using for this video. You can use whatever mini PC or whatever PC you have laying around if you have one, but I'm going to be using this one here. So this mini PC here is pretty affordable. We've got a couple of USB ports on the front here, power button and our audio input here. And also on the side we have plenty of ventilation here, and also on the other side we have plenty of ventilation as well. So when we run our server on here, it's not going to get too hot inside this mini PC. We have the expansion slot on the top, a couple of more USB ports on the right hand side, a USB 4 port, a DP port and a HDMI port, and a 2.5 gigabit Ethernet LAN port on there as well, and our 19 volt input, which comes with its own little power brick which we can plug into this to power the actual unit itself. So that's what we're going to be using. On the bottom we've got plenty of ventilation here. This is where you can gain access to the mini PC if you want to upgrade this mini PC. I've already shown inside one of these mini PCs, and this mini PC in particular, in one of my previous videos. So this one is what we're going to be using this particular mini PC for, is for a little Minecraft server, and you can play other games as well. So to set this up, I'm going to need a keyboard and mouse. So I've got my little dongle plugged in the front here for my wireless keyboard and mouse. And again, once that's finished, I can remove that because this will be sitting on the back on my shelf somewhere, so I don't need to have a keyboard and mouse plugged in all the time. And the same thing goes for the back here. I've got a Ethernet cable going in that will stay in there all the time. The HDMI cable will be pulled out once I've finished setting this up, and the other USB cable I've got plugged in is for the capture device, so that's what will be used there. So basically this will be pulled out, and also the USB cable and the front dongle, all they'll be plugged in the back of this will be the power and also the Ethernet, and that's it. Once we've set this up, it will sit on the shelf in the back. So we're going to be using the Ubuntu server for this one, so let's go ahead and download the Ubuntu server ISO, and we're going to be going for this one right here, and we're just going to hit the download button, and this will download the ISO to our computer. Well, next we're going to need to download Etcher, and this is going to allow us to create our bootable USB media. So let's go ahead and download Etcher as well. And again, once we've got this downloaded, we're going to need a flash drive to plug into the computer and create our bootable media so we can install Ubuntu server onto our mini PC. So I've got all those downloaded, and I'm going to fire up Etcher here. And what we're going to do is plug in our USB flash drive. And again, we need to flash from file. So let me go ahead and navigate to the file they're going to be using here, which is this Ubuntu ISO. Click open. And now we've got our USB flash drive plugged in here. You can see it's recognized here. Make sure you're selecting the right one. And next we're going to hit flash. And basically what this will go ahead and do, it will flash Ubuntu onto our USB flash drive so we can boot to it, and then go ahead and install it onto that mini PC. Once it's nearly done, it's going to validate to make sure everything went okay. And now we should see flash completed. We can now click close, and we can now boot to that drive. So what I'm going to do is plug it into our mini PC and go into the BIOS and click the boot tab here. Now, if you're using a different computer, your BIOS may look different, but this is the Minisforum BIOS. I'm going to hit the boot tab. And all I'm going to do here is the first boot order, I'm going to change this to, for instance, USB device UEFI USB partition. And this is my actual USB flash drive that I've just created. All I need to do now is go down to the save and exit here. And this will then reboot the system and boot to that USB flash drive as my first choice. So let's go ahead and do that right here. Click OK. And now what will happen is you'll see something like this where it says try and install Ubuntu server. So we're going to select that and then go ahead and boot to it. You'll see a load of code going up on the screen. Don't worry about that. That's pretty normal. So what we'll do from here is just let this load up. So from here, we need to choose our language. You can choose whatever one you want. I'm going to go ahead and choose English UK. And again, we've got the installer update available, so we can choose that if we want to. If you want to navigate around, you can use your tab key and also use your actual space button to select things and then push enter. The actual part of the bottom which you can't see is where we can continue. So I'm going to choose my keyboard layout here, and next we're going to choose the type of installation. So we're going to go Ubuntu server here. You can go for the Ubuntu minimize if you want to. You can see it's flashing there because I'm using the tab key, but I also want to try to search for some third-party drivers. There probably isn't going to be any, but we'll go ahead and select that anyway, and we're going to push next to continue. Now it's just give us our IP address. You can see it's found the IP 192.168.1.245, and that is the IP that it's given us. So next, proxy address, we don't really need to worry about any of this. So we're just going to hit continue here and move on to the next step. So the next step is going to be choosing our disk drive. So we can see here, use entire disk. That's exactly what we want here. So we don't need to set up a LVM group. We don't need to do that. So I'm going to use the tab key to select down to that option and then push the spacebar to remove that X there. So let's go ahead and do that right here. I'm going to push the spacebar and that will remove the X from LVM group. We don't need that. And now we can literally push continue, and this will go ahead and install our Ubuntu server onto our main drive, which is our 1 terabyte NVMe drive. So here is the initial layout of all the options that we've just done here. Next, we need to click on continue, and this will start to prep the drive and get it all installed onto it. Next is going to want to set up our profile configuration. So let's go ahead and give it a name and give our server a name and give ourselves a username and a nice strong password. So I'm going to go ahead and do all of that right here. So just choose your own name. You can put whatever name you want in there. Give the server a name that you're going to be recognized on, and also call yourself whatever it is you want to do for your username, and make sure you use a really strong password because this is your server and you don't want anyone guessing your password to gain access to your Ubuntu server. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here, and we're going to now push enter and continue. Now we don't need to install Ubuntu Pro, so we're going to use the free Ubuntu server. So let's go ahead and skip this for now and move on to the next step. Now you're going to need to install OpenSSH for your server. This is going to allow us to, say for instance, use my Windows computer, open up a terminal, and I can put in my IP and my username and password and connect to my server on the network. That's going to be a lot easier than keep going over to the actual server and plugging in a keyboard and mouse, monitor and all that stuff. So we can do it remotely via OpenSSH. So let's go ahead and do that right here by selecting the tab key to tab onto install OpenSSH server, and then we can push the spacebar to put the cross in there and make it so. Next we can click continue, and now it's going to say no third-party drivers were available. We don't need to worry about all of this extra fluff. We're not going to be using it, so that we can just skip past this and push continue to move on to the next step. So let's go ahead and push enter here. And now it's going to start to install our system. So it's going to take a bit of time, so be patient. You'll see a load of code going up on the screen, but don't worry about that. It's just installing the operating system onto that drive. When it finishes, if you see this error here, then you have to remove the USB flash drive and then restart the system and go back into the BIOS. And then what you'll need to do here is going to go to the boot tab here. And of course, we need to change that boot option 1 to our Ubuntu server drive, which we've just installed here. You can see it, NVMe Ubuntu. That's the one we've got. Now click save and exit, and now allow Ubuntu server to boot up for the first time. So I'm going to click OK here, and we're going to let this boot up. You'll see a load of code going up on the screen. Don't worry about that. And now you should see the login. So give it your username that you set up for Ubuntu server and the password that you set up for Ubuntu server, and push enter. And this will then take you to the next screen. From here, you will now see that the system information right there, and you can also see loads of other information on the screen. What's more important to us is the actual IP address that we're going to be using to log on to our server. And you can see it highlighted right there. And this is the IP for our server. So back onto our Windows machine now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the start button and open up a terminal with admin privileges, and we're going to connect to our server from here. So what you need to do is go SSH and then the username, what you set up, and then and then the IP address of that server, just like so. And once we've got that typed out, we can then push enter, and it's going to ask us for our password. But first, let's quickly say yes here, and now give it the password that we signed into our Ubuntu server. So I'm going to go ahead and type that out right here. And this should be a nice strong password for you to put in, not something silly, because obviously this is to gain access to the server. Now, when we push enter, you can now see that we have now gained access to our server, and we can now start doing our usual stuff from here, which is like, for instance, do our updates and do our upgrades to the server. So let's do our update first. Going to do sudo apt and then space update, and then push enter, and you'll see a bunch of updates going down onto the server. And now we're going to do sudo apt upgrade, and this is going to upgrade the server as well. And let's go ahead and do that right here. It's going to say, do you want to continue? I'm going to say Wi-Fi yes, and you'll see a load of upgrades going on. Don't worry, that's just pretty normal. It's just updating our server and upgrading our server. So once this is done, you don't have to worry about this for a while. So we're just going to let this go and get this finished, and we can move on to setting up our Minecraft server. Now that should be now done. And next, what we need to do here is now set up our Minecraft server. So let's go ahead and do that. So first off, you're going to need to install webmin on Ubuntu, and that's what we're going to need to do here. I'll leave a link for this in the video description. All you need to do here is head over to this article, and there'll be some introduction and some prerequisites here that you can read. And there's also how to install the webmin onto your server. Now, don't worry, you ain't going to have to type all of this stuff out. There is simple, easy copy codes right here. So you just have to copy these, and I'll show you how to do this. Just hit the copy right here. And this is now copied this to your clipboard. And now go to your actual window here and paste it in and say yes. And this will start installing the repository for webmin. So once that's done, we can move on to step 2, and we just go back to the site and basically copy that next command. So let's go ahead and do that right here. So I'm going to copy this one right here. And next we're going to go back to our terminal window and paste that in like so. Say yes here. We want to release the repository, and that's going to go ahead and install that onto our server. Go back to the site, and now we need to copy number 3. This is to install all the recommended packages for webmin. So let's go back and paste that command in and push enter. And now we can go back to the site again and copy number 4, and this will check and verify the service is running on our server. So let's go ahead and type that into there and press enter. And now you can see it does say the service is running, it's active and running, and it's all been enabled, and it gives you when it started 1 minute and 41 seconds ago. So we now know that everything is working perfectly fine and the service is up and running. And what we need to do now is I'm just going to push Q here, because you can see here it says line 1-15 /15 end. We can't do any more commands. So I'm just going to push Q to go back to the terminal. Now we can go to a browser and type in the IP address 192.168.1.245 and then colon and then 10,000. Your IP will be different, so make sure you change the IP, but the 10,000 part will be perfectly fine. You will see a page like this. Click on advanced and now go to proceed to the IP address. It says unsafe, but don't worry, that's pretty normal. And from here, we now need to sign in with our Ubuntu details, which we created for our Ubuntu server. So these are the details you're going to put into the webmin here. So let's go ahead and do that right here. I'm going to go ahead and put the username in, and I'm going to go in and put my secure password in here that I set up for that account. So let's go ahead and do that right here. You can remember me if you want to. I'm not going to, but if you want to remember it so you don't have to type it out every time, then you can check mark that. I'm going to leave that off. So there we go. Now we've got the dashboard for our webmin all up and running here. This is where we can do some updates here as well. We wanted to do some package updates and stuff like that. And you can see the CPU load averages and all the other stuff. All the information will be listed right here. And down on the left, you can see we've got system, services, tools, networking, hardware, cluster, and all that sort of good stuff. But next, we're going to need to install the next step, which is AMP. So let's go ahead and click on Get Started here. And now we need to install the AMP. So let's go and click on Install AMP window right here. It's that big green button right there. Click on that and it will take you to the options. So now we need to choose our Ubuntu server option right here. So let's select this one right here. It's up the top, but there's some other options if you've installed other versions of your server there. Next, first off, we need to do the sudo space su space dash first. Now you can copy and paste this, or you can type it out. It's entirely up to you. I'm just going to paste that in right there, and that is now done. Next, we can go back to the website and we need to copy the next command, which is our bash command right here. So again, we could just copy to our clipboard using the copy to clipboard, makes it nice and easy so you don't have to type it all out. So let me go ahead and copy that to my clipboard like so, and then go back to the terminal window right here. So let's go back over to there and we can paste that in. So let's go ahead and do that, push enter, and there we are. Now I've blurred that part out because that's giving your internal IP address and external IP address, which is something some people get a bit worried about, your gateway IP address and all your other stuff detected there. So now we need to sign in. So I'm going to go ahead and put admin and confirm with a password right here. It's going to ask us, do we want to use the Docker? It's strongly recommended if you want to run other stuff there. I'm going to say no here. I don't need Docker. But if you do, you can do. Again, you will be running Minecraft servers on this installation. We're going to say yes here because we are. So we're going to say Y for yes. And then will you be running applications that rely on Steam CMD? We're going to say yes. This is like Rust, CSGO, TF2 and all that sort of stuff. If you want to run those on your server at a later date, I would say yes here. But if you're not going to and you're just going to run Minecraft, then you can say no. Do we want to enable the HTTPS? And we're going to say no here because we don't want to, because we're going to be using another method. So what we're going to do here is push enter there. And now we should see ready to install AMP, press enter to continue. And what we're going to do next is push enter, and it will go ahead and install that onto our system and update our system. It's going to install our prerequisites right here. And it's going to start installing Java for Minecraft as well. And you can see it going up on the screen there. So that's basically what it's doing in the background. So just let it do its thing. And when that's complete, we can then move on to the next step. We're coming to near the end now. So we should be up and running very, very soon. So just be patient. And we've got a few more steps and you'll be good to go and play Minecraft with all your friends. So let me speed this process up, and now you'll see something looking like this. It says, please visit the IP address, and it will also have one for your external IP to continue the setup. And it will also say, please do not press Ctrl+C to copy. That will abort the setup process. So you don't want to use that. You want to use the Ctrl+insert rather than doing that. So let's go ahead and set this up. I'm not going to use those IP addresses right here because they generally don't work. So what I'm going to do is put in my IP that we had for our server, which is 192.168 in my case, .1.245 and then colon, and this is going to be 8080 for this one. Once we do this, you should see something looking like this. And now we can set up a username and password for this. You don't want to be using the same one that you're using for your server. You definitely want to use something different here. So let me go ahead and do that. I'm going to call it the same username here, but I'm going to give it a different password for this one to set this up. So let me go ahead and set that one up. And again, you can remove the slider for remember me. If you want to be a bit more secure, that means you're going to have to remember this and sign in with the details every time. Otherwise, you can leave that remember me checkmarked if you want to. So click login, and now it's going to move on to this screen right here. We can now click on next. Now this is not a free service. You will need to pay for this, but it's not a lot of money. But you can see here, AMP first time setup. You will need to have an AMP license key, and you can buy that where it says need AMP license. You can click on this right here. It's not a lot of money to buy, but if you're looking to use this, it's a lifetime license. So I'm going to just paste this up here just in case it closes that window down. And we're going to go down to standard edition, which is this one right here. That's enough for what we need. One-time payment, £7.50. and it's got 5 application instances, 3 panel users, and also single system management and community support. The most popular one is the professional one, but that's for more advanced multi-server management and things like that. We're just going to have a single system management here on this particular setup, but you can go with the more professional edition if you plan on doing other things. And it's only £15, but this one's £7.50, which should be enough. I'm going to use PayPal to pay for this. So let me go ahead and check mark this and sign into PayPal and pay for the standard edition. Once this is done, they will then send you your key. As you can see here, I'm going to copy this key and we're going to put this into right here, paste it in and click next. And this will continue. And now we have the standalone default right here set up on here, and it's only cost £7.50, and we already had the mini PC. So let's go ahead and go next here. Now this is the privacy settings here. This is to help maintain the server and make sure you get support. If you don't want to join in on any of this, you can deny all of this, but I would suggest keeping the send anonymous crash reports. This way they can help you better if your server keeps crashing or you have some sort of issue. You can contact them and they'll be able to see some of the information. If you don't want to do any of that, then don't. You can just uncheck all those. Next, we're going to need to restart the AMP, and let's go ahead and do that right here. And it will do a restart of all of this. And once this is done, we'll be up and running. And as you can see, we'll be ready to configure our Minecraft server. So once that's restarted, what we'll need to do is sign in. Now, it may fail for the first sign in like it did for me, but just do another attempt and it should go in this time. I'm not sure why that happens, but just go ahead and type in your username and password. Maybe I put the wrong password in, I don't know. But let's go ahead and do that right here. And I'm just going to remove the remember me and click login. And there we are. We are now at our dashboard. And now you can see we can now create an instance. So let's go ahead and set up Minecraft here. So let's create an instance by clicking on the plus, and there we go. And what this will do is it will give you an option to select an application. There's quite a few to choose from, but we're just concentrating on Minecraft here. But you'll see there's an extensive list of games that you can set up as a server here. So depending on what you want to set up, it's entirely up to you. You can use it for all of these options right here. But we're looking for Minecraft, so let's go ahead and find Minecraft. So there's the options available. I'm going to come down to the M section. And we're looking for Minecraft Java Edition. That's the one we're going to go for right here. Select that. And that's now done. So now we need to give it a friendly name. This is something that you can call whatever you like. I'm going to call mine, say, Britec Minecraft server, something like that, but you can call yours whatever you like. I'm going to say after creation do nothing, because we don't want it setting up and starting the server straight away, because we need to configure it and do some other changes on that server. So let's go ahead now. We've got the Britec Minecraft server set up. You can see it says idle and it hasn't been started because we put it to not to start here. So now what we need to do is click on the manage server options here. And this is where we get CPU usage, memory usage, and also active users on here as well. And from here, we can now either start it, and you can see the connection info right there as well. That's the IP address with the port. And we also have the network port status right there as well. So here, what we can do is go to the configuration section right here, click on configuration. And from here, we can now configure it. So for instance, we would click on Minecraft here because we want to configure the Minecraft settings. So inside here, you're going to get Java and memory, server and setup, network, performance and gameplay, difficulty, security, and also sleep mode. So memory is pretty self-explanatory. If you want to give it 4 gigabytes, you can do right here. I want to give it, say, 6 gigabytes. Depending on how much memory you have on the server, you can start off with, say, 4 gigabytes and see how it goes. If you need a bit more memory, just give it a bit more memory. It's that simple. It's a bit of trial and error, really. It depends on the actual mini PC that you're using or PC that you're using. But I'm going to go with 6 gigabytes because I've got 16 gigs, so I think I'll just go with that much and see how it goes from there. If it's too much, I can drop it down a little bit. So next we're going to need to go to server and startup here. And this is where you can configure the server and startup depending on what you want to do here. These are some options available to you. And you can see here the startup type. And there is information right here. So let's go ahead and take a look there. And we want to go ahead, I think, and we're going to choose right here, Fabric. I think Fabric is pretty much a good option right now for us. So we're going to go Fabric. And next, what we're going to do next is choose this option right here. Make sure you're using 1.21.4. That's the latest version. So we're going to go with that. And that is exactly how it should be, 1.0.1. And next, we can now go to the next step, which is onto the world seed here. So the world seed can be changed. So you can see it's Cube Coders powered, and we can change this by going over to our website and having a look at some of the best world seeds right now. And you can change, this is basically going to change the world of your Minecraft server. And you can see the seed right there for all pigs variant, and also there's some other ones available right here. There's quite a few to choose from, so do a bit of research and find out what one you like. This one is quite nice. I might go with the Ancient City seed, but there is a few others available. Some people are liking the Cherry Blossom ones right now. There's quite a few of those. And you got this one right here. So if you wanted this one, you would just copy that little seed number and paste it in there. I'm going to go with this one right here, and we'll copy this. I'm going to go back here and paste that in right there, and make sure you press enter, and you should see a green box popping up saying saved settings. And now that is now done. So we're pretty much good here now. Level name is perfectly fine. Everything else seems to be okay here. So what I want to do here is go to the network. They all seem to be okay. Performance, these are your performance. You can mess around with these as and when. So the view distance will be obviously quite graphic intensive. So depending on how good your system is will determine how far your view distance is going to be. Gameplay and difficulty, again, this will determine exactly what it is. Survival mode, whether you want it on difficulty on easy or whether you want it on really super duper hard, you can go and change all of that settings right here. So let's go ahead and change the difficulty because it is set to easy, and we'll make this hard. But again, survival mode, if you don't want survival mode, you can change that as well. Stop the server. All these settings look okay for now, just for this, but you can spend a bit more time going through here and choosing some of the settings that you want for your server. It's all trial and error. You're not going to break anything. You can see allow NPCs as well. You can toggle that off, and allow monsters as well. If you want to toggle that off, you just toggle it off. And we've got hardcore mode right here. Again, I'm not going to be using any of that on this one. You can allow players versus player combat PvP as well. So I'll leave that up to you. Security is perfectly fine. Sleep mode, again, if you want to enable sleep mode, the option is right here. And basically it saves resources. It's not going to save too much, so I'm going to turn that off. It just means that it won't go to sleep and it'll be up all the time. If there's no one on your server, it'll obviously go into sleep mode. But for how much power it's going to save, it's just not worth me worrying about that. So let's go to the status right here, right now. And again, we can now click start, and it will start up our server. And you can see Minecraft server EULA. So we're going to accept that. And now that is going to fire up our server for the very first time. What you're going to need is obviously the Minecraft application on your PC so you can play the game, because obviously you need to download the client so you can play it. So let's go ahead and we can get that set up right now. I'm going to head over to the website. Let me just quickly start that back up again. I shut it back down. I did something else on it. I can't remember. It will go high CPU usage here at the beginning, and that's because it's firing up for the very first time. But it will stabilize. As you can see, you get a little spike, but that's pretty normal. Memory usage, again, we're not using a lot of memory right here, and there's no active users on there right now. Okay, so let's move on to the next bit. So let's go and get the Minecraft client and download that here. So I'm going to go ahead and download that from their website. And again, you can get that from the Microsoft Store as well. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to install this onto the computer. It's going to go ahead and get some Windows updates and do a bunch of stuff in the background. We're on Windows 11 23H2 here. but it will work on 24H2 as well on other versions of Windows like Windows 10 as well. And if you're on other versions of operating systems, it will probably work on that if it's compliant with that operating system. So let's go ahead and let that finish off. And once that's finally installed, you'll see something looking like this. So make sure you've selected Minecraft Java Edition and make sure the latest release is selected here. And it's the same as the one on your server that you're hosting. Otherwise, you'll run into problems. But everything should be done right if you followed what I've done in this video. Next, we're going to fire it up. And from here, we can now see we have Minecraft right here. Let me just expand this a little bit right here. And again, we can continue here because it's the first time we've seen this. So let's click on continue. And from here, we now need to go to multiplayer and proceed right here. If you don't want to see this message again, put the check mark in here. I'm just going to leave that as is for now. And now we can go direct connection because we're going to connect directly to our server. So let's click that right here, direct connection. And we need to use that IP address which is on the application. I'll show you that in a second. You can see the IP address and the port that it's using. It's going to connect to our server, and hopefully if we've done everything right, it should now give us the world and we should now be logged in. So it's pretty basic installation right now. You can go ahead and use all your plugins. I'll show you quickly how to put a plugin on the system. If you want to add some more stuff, you can do, but you can see we're in this world right here, and it looks pretty cool. So that's pretty much that part. So let's quickly go back and give ourselves the operator right here. So use your name, your username. So I'm going to do OP and my name, and it's now give me the server operator for that particular server. That's going to allow you to fly around and make changes and stuff like that. If you want to install plugins like the Minimap and things like that, you can do. You can just head over to the website. There's tons of stuff over there, but that Minimap will help you navigate around. And again, this is 1.21.4 and Fabric we're going to be using. So make sure you download exactly that because we're going to be installing Fabric on this one. And again, make sure you get the Fabric API as well. Make sure it's that 1.21.4. And for this one, we're going to select Fabric because that is what we're going to be using. And we're going to select that one and now download it. And that will be that part done. So make sure you select the right one here, okay? And then you can move on to the next step. So let's go ahead and do that. So we've now got those downloaded. And once we've got those downloaded, we'll need to download one more part, which is the Fabric bit for the operating system, which is for Windows as well, because we're setting up Fabric, we're going to need to put that onto our system as well. So go into File Manager here, and we need to go into Mods right in here. And here you can drop in all your mods for your server. So if you've got different types of mods that you want to use, we're using the Fabric one here and the Minimap right here. I'm going to just drag those over and they will be uploaded to your server. That's simple. Nothing too difficult right there. I'm going to copy both of these again because they will need to be put into this PC, the C drive, and we're going to go into users and then our user account for our Windows PC. And then we're going to go into right here, app data. It should be grayed out. If it is, then you show hidden files, folders and drives. And once we've got this done, we need to then select our .minecraft. It should be in here somewhere. There it is right up the very top. Double click on that one and go into the mods folder here and paste those in like so. They've been a mods folder right there. If it's not there, you can create a mods folder and that should be good to go. And now we need to download the Fabric for Windows. So go ahead and use the installer, download this and click on install. We're installing that into the app data, roaming and Minecraft folder. And now we're pretty much good to go. We've got it into our PC. And here is the IP right here that you'll connect to on your Minecraft server. So I'm going to start this up again. I'm going to start this up and we should now have our Fabric set up. So now we can make sure we're selecting the Fabric loader 1.21.4 and this will start to load up this window right here. And now we can use the multiplayer right here, proceed, and then do direct connection right here and paste in that IP address and your port, and it will then go ahead and connect to your server. And again, we should now see something looking like this. We're back in here and we're good to go. You can now start playing. You can see the mini map up on the left hand side now where we've added that mod in, and there's plenty of other mods to choose from, but this is just some of the ones that you might be interested in. If you want to play with your friends and you don't want to share your IP address, then you'll need to set up something like playit.gg, and this will create a tunnel where it will hide your IP address from the people that are connecting to your server, and it will give you a unique link to give to them so they can connect to your server rather than giving your external IP. It's free to use. You just set up an account, download it, install it, and go through the motions. There's a couple of little steps and it will give you a link, and you can then share that link with your friends and they will be able to connect to it from the outside world to your Minecraft server. And again, it won't give them your external IP if you're worried about exposing your external IP. Anyway, have fun with your Minecraft server with your friends. I may set up a community one for everyone on my Discord so we can all play Minecraft together. My name has been Brian from briteccomputers.co.uk. I just want to say a quick shout out to all my YouTube members who joined my YouTube members group. Your names are rolling up on the screen right now. I shall see you again in the next video, or I'll catch you on our Discord server for a chat. The link is in the video description. Bye for now.